Hi guys, this is Julia for TheAlleyWayStamps, and this is my very last video for TheAlleyWayStamps. As many of you know, or I hope that at least all of you know by now, TheAlleyWayStamps is closing down at the end of this year, so you only have very little time left to get the stamps that you've always wanted, so hop on over to the store and grab those. Today I'm using a mini stamp set that is a little bit, sci-fi. I'm a sci-fi nerd at heart. I love Star Trek, I love Star Wars. So when I saw this rocket, I just knew I had to do something with it. I grabbed some watercolor cardstock, created a card base out of it, and now I'm using this flat brush and some clean water just to wet the surface. And this is just moist. This is not dripping wet. So I just wanted it to moisten up a bit so the color will run better. And then I'm grabbing my Kuretake watercolors, and I just grabbed this one pan here because I only wanted to have a dark blue. You can use any watercolor you like. You don't have to use a specific brand. Whatever you have at hand will probably work just as fine. Just give it a try. And all I want to do is I want to create this painted background. It doesn't need to be super artistic or anything. I just want to have some solid color in the middle, and I want it to look messy on the edges, and that's working out pretty well actually. And you can see, because I wet the surface a little bit, the color moves quite nicely in the center. So I don't have any streaks in the center, but I have this nice streaky effect to the outside, and that's exactly what I wanted. Now this is wet, so I dried this with my heat gun, and after it was dried, I am taking Perfect Pearls in the color Perfect Pearl. Yes, I know, but it's exactly that's how it's called. And a dry brush, and I'm just dabbing some of the Perfect Pearls onto the blue here and just sponging this around. And then I'm just using my finger to smear it around. It's dry, so I'm not going to move the color underneath, and I just want to give this a shimmer and a shine, because it's space, right? It's going to be space, so it needs to be shimmery and shiny. It's like J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies, you always have to have some lens flare effect, so I'm creating my own. Now I've set that aside to dry, and I've stamped this little rocket here with Ranger Archival ink onto some watercolor cardstock. It's the same kind of paper that I used for the card base. And then I'm using my Stabilo markers to put down some color along the sides here. I just want to give it some dimension. I don't want to color in completely. And I'm using my Dove blender pen to draw out the color. You could use a brush with water just as well, and you'll see me use a brush later on actually, because I was a little bit unhappy about the streakiness that I had here, because I couldn't blend it out as perfectly as I liked to. So there's no right or wrong. Use whatever tool you feel most comfortable with. I wanted to try out what the blender pen could do for me here, but I wasn't entirely happy. So I scribbled some of the Stabilo marker onto an acrylic block that you can see here to the left, and then I'm picking it up with a regular brush. You can wet the brush if you want the color to be softer, or you can have the brush a little bit drier if you want the color to be more intense. It's best to experiment with this. You can see that I'm putting down a little bit of color here and then blending it out with just clean water. Because I want the edges of the spacecraft to be darker, and the center part I want to be lighter, simply so it will have a little bit of a dimensional effect. And then later on, after I put down the first layers, I came back with a dark gray and put this down at the very edge here on the wings, and then used my blender pen again just to give it some more contrast. Now I'm doing the same here for the fiery rocket tail. Put down the yellow, then blended it out with the marker, and then I'm coming in with a red and with an orange, and I'm blending from the red directly into the orange, and then using my blender pen to blend out into the yellow. Now I had my brother scan and cut this piece out for me. It's just awesome, I just love this machine so much. And then I want to heat emboss. And I know from experience that after putting down Perfect Pearls, embossing powder will stick to the Perfect Pearls. So I'm using an anti-static back there to make sure that the embossing powder will only stick where it goes. And I'm using a German sentiment here because this is part of a card set that I will give to a friend. And the sentiment says, "You will be missed here." And I think that is just perfect for my last video here for the alleyway stamps. As you see me add some dots with my white gel pen. The alleyway stamps will be missed. The stamp sets were just absolutely gorgeous and very unique. And I'm really happy and proud that I got the opportunity to work on the design team for the alleyway stamps. Finishing up my card here by putting some glossy accents on the yellow center here of the rocket, so it will look like a window. And here you can see in the close-up the shimmery background with my white gel pen dots and a little bit of the glossy accents on the center window of my rocket. Here's the entire card, and once more, thank you, Allison from the Alleyway Stamps. It was really a pleasure working with you, and I wish you all the best. Cheers and goodbye, everybody.